Hello, welcome to my weekly look ahead video. Parliament continues virtually, so I've been zooming in from my computer at home as well as some limited duties in the constituency and still dealing with a lot of emails. We've had sittings of the Home Affairs Select Committee again this week, and we have produced our report on domestic abuse last week, and I spoke in the domestic abuse second reading debate last week, a very important piece of legislation which is now proceeding through Parliament. We had the regular conference calls, an interesting one with the Chief Constable and the Police Commissioner last week. The police are coping well. The absence rate of police is down to about 7%, which is actually better than usual. So we've got a lot of resource on the front line. The number of 999 calls is down 25% compared to last year. And on the question of the fixed penalty notices for people who are not abiding by the lockdown regulations, Sussex police have so far issued some 400. That's the sixth largest number in the country, but this is mostly to people from outside of the county who think they'll bring their camper van down to the south coast for the weekend or whatever, which is absolutely against the regulations. So I think they are continuing to use them sensibly here. And most of the increased activity has been around antisocial behaviour and the big problem still with domestic abuse. Beyond that, we had calls with the health service and with the care homes. The NHS continues to cope well. The capacity at Worthing Hospital is barely 50%. Really good news on testing. We now have 4 main testing centres across Sussex: Bexhill, Bognor, the Amex Stadium and Gatwick Airport. They've now got a capacity of over 1,300 tests per day. As at last Friday, they were actually performing 950 of those tests, so there's still capacity. The criteria for who can be tested has been greatly extended. All people in social care, residents and workers, and I know a lot of homes are now taking advantage of that. And because of the concern about the continuing pressures on care homes, I've just written to all the 32 residential care homes within my constituency to get their feedback on where we can still do more to help them with the big challenges that they've got. There was very good news last weekend about the extension for business support, particularly those companies who fell below the criteria because they didn't pay business rates directly. They're now included, so an additional amount of money, and I know there's quite a few local business who's already been able to take advantage of that flexibility, which is good news. One bit of not good news though is the announcement by British Airways that they are looking to make a number of redundancies and cut back a lot of their services and effectively withdraw from Gatwick. Now I think there's a lot of posturing in that, there's a lot of politicking because they want to get some more support out of the government, but what I was particularly annoyed about is the IAG group, which owns British Airways but also owns Iberia, Welling and Aer Lingus, where they haven't proposed to make similar sorts of redundancies and cutbacks. So I have written to the head of the IAG, British Airways, along with a number of other MPs to express our concern there. And today we just had the news about Virgin also retrenching some of the activities. That's quite bad news for Gatwick, and we have a lot of people in the constituency who work for BA, work for Virgin, or whose jobs rely on Gatwick. So that is a concern that I'm working with my West Sussex colleagues to take up. I've also written to the Chancellor, along with about 100 Conservative MPs, for extra support for the tourism and hospitality industry, which is so important to us here on the south coast. We need to see greater flexibility of the furloughing scheme. Something I've wanted for a while is a reduced VAT rate for the tourism industry of just 5%. We've made a number of proposals there. Anyway, this week, the good news: on Friday we can take a break from coronavirus in a limited way to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day. There's going to be a whole series of events throughout the day. Alas, not the great parades and marches and street parties that were planned, and I know the British Legion in Worthing had some great events planned which all came to nothing because of coronavirus, but there's still lots of things going on virtually. There's going to be the 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. We're going to have readings by Prince Charles from the diaries of his grandfather, George VI, from May the 8th 1945. There'll be an address from the Queen. There'll be a communal singing of "We'll Meet Again" from Dame Vera Lynn and everybody. There'll be individual calls to veterans are going to be made, and I hope that includes our own William Earl, Shoreham resident, who in a few days' time, on the 12th of May, is going to be 105, a great veteran of the Italian campaign in particular, and of course his biography was written by a Shoreham author just a few years ago. So the very best wishes to William on his 150th birthday. And there's lots of things you can also do on my website. There's details of the toolkit that's available on the vevjday.gov.org website. You can download bunting and posters and things like that. So lots of things to try and take our mind off coronavirus on Friday. And then finally on Sunday, we're going to have further news from the Prime Minister about hopefully some relaxation of the lockdown and route out of the current restrictions that we've got. But until that, abide by the regulations, stay at home and keep safe.